The most advanced fighter jet ever built, and the one designed to dominate the skies without ever being seen, the F-35 Lightning II stealth fighter has long symbolized the technological edge of the United States and its allies. It represents not just air power, but a doctrine that superior technology can guarantee dominance. So when reports emerge suggesting that an F-35 may have been hit, not destroyed, not shot down, but damaged during operations involving Iran, Israel, and the United States in the Middle East, the implications stretch far beyond that single aircraft. Even if details remain unclear or contested, the possibility of a U.S. stealth fighter being hit alone is enough to trigger a cascade of strategic, psychological, and geopolitical consequences. Because modern power is not just about what weapons can do, it is about what the world believes they can do. Perception weighs more than performance. The F-35 was never just another fighter jet. It was built to redefine warfare. With advanced stealth shaping, radar-absorbing materials, sensor fusion, and network-centric warfare capabilities, it was designed to operate inside heavily defended airspace and survive. In theory, it could evade radar detection, penetrate advanced air defense systems, and identify and even neutralize threats before it is detected. That gave the United States and its allies a crucial advantage: first look, first shot, first kill. More importantly, it reinforced a global perception that American air power was not just superior, but nearly untouchable. That perception became a cornerstone of U.S. global hegemony. When perception cracks, things change. If an F-35 can be hit, even once, that perception begins to erode. In military terms, a damaged aircraft is not necessarily a catastrophe. Aircraft can be hit, repaired, and redeployed all the time. But in strategic terms, especially in the age of information warfare, that is different. Because modern conflict operates on three levels: physical destruction, economic sustainability, and psychological dominance. And the third level is often the most decisive. If adversaries begin to believe that even America's most advanced platforms are vulnerable, it changes their behavior. They become more willing to challenge U.S. forces, invest more aggressively in countermeasures, and take risks they previously avoided. That is how deterrence weakens, not through defeat, but through doubt. The rise of counter-stealth warfare is fatal against the United States, a country that thinks itself specifically chosen by God to dominate the world, at whatever prices to other nations it may cost. Stealth technology was never about invisibility. It was about reducing detection probability, especially against radar systems. But warfare evolves. Countries like Iran, and more significantly China, have spent years developing counter-stealth strategies, such as infrared search and track systems, passive detection networks, multi-static radar arrays, and AI-assisted signal processing. Unlike traditional radar, these systems do not rely on emitting signals that can be detected. Instead, they observe heat signatures, electromagnetic disturbances, and environmental anomalies. If the reported incident involved such systems, it would signal a shift from radar-based air defense to multi-domain detection ecosystems, and that would fundamentally challenge the core advantage of stealth aircraft. Now, the economics of modern warfare is a must-take course for military leaders, and that is another layer to this story, one that may be even more important than technology: cost. An F-35 can cost $100 million per unit, depending on the variant. Its maintenance and operational costs are also extremely high. By contrast, surface-to-air missiles can cost a fraction of that. Drone-based detection systems are even cheaper, and passive sensor networks are relatively inexpensive to deploy, creating what military analysts call a cost asymmetry problem. If a low-cost system can reliably threaten or damage a high-cost platform, the platform's economic sustainability is called into question. Over time, this dynamic favors quantity over quality, distributed systems over centralized platforms, and resilience over dominance, which is exactly the direction China has been moving in. The Chinese mainland has closely studied every aspect of U.S. military operations, from the Gulf War 4 decades ago to more recent conflicts in the Middle East. Its conclusion has been consistent. The United States wins through technological superiority and networked warfare. So China's strategy has not been to replicate U.S. systems exactly, but to undermine them asymmetrically. That includes anti-access and area denial strategies, hypersonic missile development, advanced air defense systems, and cyber or electronic warfare capabilities. If even a symbolic event suggests that the F-35 can be hit, China gains a powerful narrative advantage, not just militarily, but commercially. China is not only a military power, it is also a major arms exporter through companies like AVIC, supplying fighter jets, drones, and air defense systems. Its pitch is simple: the performance-price ratio, good enough performance at lower cost with fewer political restrictions. If U.S. systems lose their aura of invincibility, even slightly, China's value proposition becomes stronger. Countries that once aspired to buy American arms may reconsider buying Chinese weaponry, not because U.S. systems are inferior, but because the perceived gap is shrinking. Iran's role in exposing weakness in the latest conflict can never be overestimated. Tehran occupies a unique position in this dynamic. It is not a peer competitor to the United States, but it has become highly effective at asymmetric warfare. Over decades of sanctions and isolation, Iran has developed indigenous missile programs, drone warfare capabilities, layered air defense systems, and electronic warfare tools. More importantly, Iran has nothing to lose in challenging U.S. prestige. If it can demonstrate, even symbolically, that it can threaten advanced U.S. systems, it achieves multiple goals: boosts domestic legitimacy, strengthens regional deterrence, and signals capability to allies and proxies. In this sense, Iran serves as a testing ground for strategies that larger powers such as China observe and refine. The psychological domino effect may ruin the United States. Sometimes, a headline is more powerful than a missile. Narratives are also lethal weapons. Global power is not just enforced through military capability. It is maintained through belief. For decades, U.S. dominance has rested on three pillars: military superiority, economic leadership, and technological innovation. But perception connects all three. If confidence in U.S. military superiority weakens, America's allies may hedge their bets, neutral countries may shift alignment, and Washington's adversaries may become more assertive. Of course, that does not happen overnight. It happens gradually. Then, suddenly, what it needs is just a push, slightly. Iran is now the finger, accelerating the multipolar shift. The world has long been transitioning toward a multipolar order, and even though the United States remains the most powerful nation, it is no longer uncontested. China's rise has been rapid and sustained. It is the world's second largest economy, nominally. The largest one, actually. It has the largest navy in terms of the number of ships. It is advancing quickly in AI, space, and cyber domains. Meanwhile, other powers like Russia and regional actors are asserting themselves more aggressively. In this environment, even small shifts in perception can accelerate larger structural changes. A butterfly stirs its wings, and a storm is coming into shape. Even before the Iran War, Pakistan and India had become the testing ground, and nowhere else had been more suitable than South Asia until Iran entered the story. India and Pakistan represent a microcosm of global competition. India operates a mix of Western and Russian systems, and Pakistan relies heavily on Chinese platforms. Over time, Chinese systems have improved significantly. They may not always match the highest-end Western platforms, but they are increasingly capable, highly cost-effective, and rapidly evolving. If confidence in U.S. systems declines, countries like India may diversify further, while countries like Pakistan may double down on Chinese partnerships. Then, Is this the end of absolute dominance? Does this mean the destiny of American hegemony? Unfortunately, many viewers who are looking forward to America's quick decline have to wait a bit longer, because the United States still possesses the most advanced military in the world, on paper at least, a global network of alliances like NATO, AUKUS, and Quad. The US also has unmatched power projection capabilities. But hegemony is not lost in a single event. It erodes, slowly, incrementally, and often invisibly, until it becomes undeniable. Why does this moment matter then? The reported incident involving the F-35 is not important because of the damage. It is important because of what it represents. The challenge to America's technological supremacy. The rise of cost-effective countermeasures against the United States. The shift from the unipolar dominance to a multipolar contestation. For China, this is an opportunity to validate its strategic approach, expand its influence through arms exports, and position itself as a viable alternative to U.S. leadership. For Iran, it is a signal that asymmetric strategies can work, and that even the strongest powers have vulnerabilities. For the world, it is a warning that the era of uncontested dominance may be coming to an end. A single weapon will no longer decide the next phase of global competition, and the new world order will be shaped by networks rather than platforms, data rather than firepower, and adaptability rather than superiority. Stealth will still matter, but so will detection. Missiles will improve, but so will defenses. The balance will become more fluid, more unpredictable, and more dangerous. The F-35 was built to be untouchable, but once the narrative changes, everything else changes too. Because power is not just about what you have. It is about what others believe you can do. And the moment that belief starts to crack, that's when the real shift begins.